Get it. Hello, everyone. Canvas Invaders here with my main man, Reynold Thomas, and we are at his exhibition, and I'm going to let him introduce himself and explain a little bit about the show and kind of what he's been up to in the last, I think the last time we sat down and recorded it, it's been like maybe 2-3 years.
It's been a while.
It's been a while, but you, of course, haven't been sleeping. You've been kind of building a community. So we'll probably get into a lot of different things today.
Yeah, for sure.
But let's have you introduce yourself to the world. Allow me to reintroduce myself.
Yeah, for sure. My name is Reynold Thomas, and I'm a visual artist. I've been creating in the city now for coming up on 10 years. Wow, that's crazy.
Wow.
So during this time, I've put on a few different solo exhibitions, group exhibitions. Sean talked a little bit about the community that we've been creating. So I launched Figuration, which is a creative organization that's focused on just bringing people together, creating a platform for artists to create and vibe and connect and have a space to feel like they can, connect with the community and the arts and just practice their skills. Mm-hmm. A little bit about me. If you don't know me, I've been just focused on creating artworks that tell my story, tell a story of my community, my culture, and the emotions and vulnerabilities that are sort of surrounded by that dialogue. So this particular show, it's probably one of my most personal exhibitions. Throughout the years, I've done, some things might have depicted myself or people around me, but this is as true as a story can get. The story behind myself, my wife, my 2 kids, and sort of the struggles that we've been going through for the past couple of years, and the sort of quiet grace that comes through coming out of chaos, right? And a lot of my work is also focused on this sort of duality of chaos and beauty and how that transcends and works together. So the work here, is you take a look at it, you see some very strong emotions that are captured through some geometrical lines and shapes, and allowing for those people who are experiencing the work to find connection through that imagery.
It's funny not funny, but it's interesting that you say that, because last night you had you opened up the exhibition, and just having conversations with some of the people that were here, even though the faces are not traditional human figures, a lot of the conversations I was hearing and was a part of was that they felt like a lot of people saw themselves in the image, and again, some of them are figurative, but they saw themselves in the facial features. The show is called Beautiful Struggle, and what you're mentioning last night was some of this was inspired also because of the pandemic, and you're working a lot in home. But some people, they just really connected with maybe a sense of confusion. Yeah. And if you look at some of your pieces in this collection here, the eyes are kind of all over the place. Yeah. And I think a lot of people were searching during that time. So it has, I'll say this, you can punch me later, like a Picasso-esque, right. But I think we needed that kind of, to go, like this is the beautiful struggle, and now you've gone through the struggle, we'll say, at that point, whatever you were struggling with. Right. So yeah, it's just, even though it's an abstract, it does have a connection. A lot of people were connecting with it last night, and so that I just wanted to say that, because when you said that kind of sparked some of the thoughts from last night.
Yeah. So part of my creative process was I wanted to, just find different ways to create work that's really evoking emotion, but do so in a way that is not necessarily representational, but allows for there to be some dialogue. And I think that we're just going through this idea of a little bit of chaos goes a long way. I want people to sort of see the work and have that initial, I guess maybe confusion might be the word, but But I think what I was going for was this displacement. I wanted to sort of create this this aspect and this imagery that allows for sort of people to now start thinking about what does each sort of facial feature represent. I guess what really stood out to people are the eyes, who they're looking at, who they're looking towards, what sort of inner thoughts might be going through the figures. So when I look at it, I'm sort of creating, so one of the first images, part of, I guess, my role in terms of when you think about my role as a man, as a father, is to protect and to provide. And I think what I learned through that is there are a lot of people sort of looking up to me or looking to me for answers or for protection. And then it becomes, who does a man look to, right? Mm-hmm. So you can sort of follow the eyes and sort of see that some of them are sort of looking up, looking for answers, whether that's be perception of look to answer to God, a higher power, but also this idea of trying to find the answer. And I think a lot of times when people are confused, they'll look up and they'll really start thinking about it, trying to sort of use that that vocation to sort of find themselves. And I think that's part of what I wanted to connect with in terms of what personally I felt comes from being a leader, having responsibilities. And I created a piece a few years ago called Perseverance that spoke towards that as well, where it's sort of this idea of being the head of a movement, but you have to carry yourself in a way that allows for other people to feel that you're strong, that you're mighty, but also there's a vulnerability that comes along with that, right? Mm-hmm. There's a struggle that comes along with that, and an inner struggle that comes to mind. And with that, we're still required to get the shit done. We're still required to put food on the table. Yeah. So you got to make things happen. Yeah. And I think that's part of what I felt sort of going through that. And then just looking at the innocence of children, but then having that they also have to feel that they're connecting and that they're leading each other, that they're supportive. They're looking to us, but we want them to ensure that they're looking to each other, that they're growing as individuals, that we are raising and inspiring this young generation to be outside thinkers and to be strong, but also to be inquisitive with whatever's happening around them.
Yeah, you touched a lot of points there that are interesting. One of the things, because I'm around you every week with your Figuration community and life drawing sessions, you have become a leader, or you probably were always a leader, but you said something there with vulnerability and people looking to you during their time of vulnerability. And I don't want you to just kind of wash over that, because you've been active when a lot of people decided not to be active or come outside, when we were forced not to come outside. Right. Maybe, what's the statutes of limitations? Maybe I don't want to say too much. But yeah, I just know, like, rocking with you for the last couple years now, especially with with Figuration and the life drawing sessions, you've built a community, and during that time, a portion of that time, no one was creating and no one felt safe to be around people, and you fostered that. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of artists were vulnerable, and you provided a place where people could come together, and it didn't matter the level of artistic ability someone had. Mm-hmm. I think it got to a point where people wanted to just be outside. Right. And I think you fostered that. And I think you were, as artists, maybe I'm going all over the place, but as artists, as a creative, the vulnerability that they have to sometimes share in order to get the work out is something that not everyone feels comfortable with. So I think in this, I remember you mentioned it last night, you were saying this is probably one of your most personal, bodies of work. How do you see yourself becoming more comfortable with sharing more of your, I guess, personal life? Or is this a direction that you could see yourself going with sharing more personal, or you're like, you know what, I showed you guys enough, I'm out, kind of thing?
Yeah, that's a great question. I feel that my work is always going to be, it's always going to have a personal sort of connection to how I feel, the stories I want to tell. But I feel over time, or like maybe sort of backtrack a little bit, I feel like I was very connected to telling other people's stories. And it wasn't that I was not connected to telling my own story or creating representation of myself. It was really just how I felt at the time. A lot of my work was focused on body imagery and stories of connecting with yourself and connecting yourself with the body, and that's sort of what really translated well with the whole figuration movement. But I think a few years ago I did a self-portrait, and that was the second self-portrait I've ever done. The first one was I think I was in high school or just graduated. So it was like 20. They were 20 years apart, right? But I feel that, growing as an artist and trying to ensure that when people see the work and are connected to it, if I'm speaking about vulnerability, then that same sort of mantra works for myself, or that I'm also involved in ensuring that I'm telling that story, and then people sort of connect and feel that, and then they can now have the platform to feel that they can do the same, just sort of leading by example. And I think that part of my artistic growth was realizing that it's important to maybe see yourself in different lenses and see yourself in different phases and attributes of life. So with this series, part of the imagery is focused on myself. Some of the figures are representations of myself, and so everyone can sort of see themselves in the work. But these were sort of personal self-portraits that I created from.